Okay, this is what we were supposed to discuss as written. That this will be on the next slide. We are talking about aligning your code with your company's purpose and values. Now, usually you might have seen that most of the companies do have something called as a tagline. Now, that tagline will be indicating what the company probably into what kind of business and what kind of ethics they follow. Not always ethics, but the kind of processing which the companies do. So, few taglines I have got for you that we read. You will come to know about the company's nature, the kind of a business, or maybe that statements will talk about the company. Disneyland, if ever you have visited somewhere, the happiest place on the earth is their caption. Nike, just do it. Old Spice, what is Old Spice? It's perfume as well as aftershave. Read this statement, very interesting. Good for adults to understand. DBS is one of the famous diamond manufacturing and export company. A diamond is forever, very noble thing. Mastercard and Visa card. So they are talking, there are some things money cannot buy, so everything else is Mastercard. Samsung, do what you cannot. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Allstate is an insurance company in the US, not here. You are in good hands. Uber, move the way you want. Capital One, what is in your wallet? That credit card system again, just like from Mastercard. Rothy's is a footwear company. Very interesting caption. Reduce your carbon footprint in style. Staples is US's biggest office suppliers, office stationery suppliers. That was easy. Marriott hotel chain, they say rewards, reimagine. Kellogg's, Rice Krispies, Snap, Crackle Pop. Gatorade is PepsiCo sports and fitness line. The different kind of thing which PepsiCo provides. Is it in you? So here they are talking about the player or a sports person. Now why I have shown you this particular slide? If you concentrate here, this particular brand, which is a footwear brand, their caption is reduce your carbon footprint in style. Now this particular statement is talking about the company's policy to take care about the environment. So whatever products they have, those are all environmental friendly. The shoes which they manufacture, the material which is used therein. So that is talking about the environmental friendly manufacturing process. Then its entire process is not endangering the environment at all. So they are taking care about all the ecological norms. They are trying to fulfill all the environmental rules and regulations. So that in one of the earlier slides we were talking about the earth or this planet as an earth. So we have to take care of the safety of this earth as well. So this caption line itself is talking about their ethical practices right at the front, which even customers would be able to understand. What they say, reduce your carbon footprint in style. And when we are using the word footprint, that is directly related to the footwear. So it's a very smart, catchy line which is talking about more on carbon footprints. If we use only footprint word, that has got different meaning. But when it is carbon footprint, where we are talking about making our businesses more endangering to the environment, kind of carbon dioxide which is being generated, kind of toxins which are being generated, maybe released in the air, maybe released into the sea water or maybe in the river water, that is likely to have a lot of negative impact of those kind of processes, even the product which may be recycled. Now they claim that 90% of their product is recycled. So that it doesn't go waste, it doesn't create any hazard to the society as well as to the human being or well-being as well. So that caption line is talking about alignment of the core of your company to the purpose and the values of the company. So few examples I have given you here, there are few more coming up. So you just read the examples and then you will come to know what is the company is all about. You can hear BMW, the ultimate driving machine. When it comes to any maybe an individual car which you would like to own, probably owning a BMW might be your dream. Like Mercedes-Benz could be another brand, which is a brand which even common people can think of going to that level and purchase. We are not thinking about sports cars or sports vehicles, so that probably normal human beings, I mean, the average earning or maybe above average people may not be able to imagine that purchase. So BMW is talking about even a higher grade people who have got higher middle class family, they can also own BMW, where they are talking about the quality of their product, the ultimate driving machine. So if you go through each and every, we don't have time to analyze each and every statement, but it is talking about the kind of business they are into, kind of value system they are following. Now when they say that the ultimate driving machine, they are talking about the quality of their product, they are talking about the quality of the processes, and they are talking about the ultimate customer satisfaction. So BMW people don't buy it only for the sake of having an ego to get satisfied, but there is of course a kind of feel. If any one of you have driven BMW, then you will get to know what is the difference between driving any another car brand and BMW. So it's not only I won't call it as an ego, but I would call it as a self-esteem or a kind of image of yourself in the society. It's not only the purpose of it, but you are giving the product which is ultimate in driving comfort and driving facilities. We can analyze all other statements also, move the way you want. So I think Uber has been, competition is there of Ola, which is in India, so they started. So otherwise Uber is a multinational brand, I can see. So that was the concept which was started, and now it has been picked. There are many other players also in the similar kind of business. But what is the caption line? Move the way you want. This is the caption line which is talking about the flexibility given to the customer who wants to enjoy those kind of services. So it is again talking about the business ethics. If you go to Uber, even if you go to Ola, or there are many other, I forgot the names of all those companies. So there are a few more available in the market. So they do function, but then Uber has got a special characteristics that wherever you want, they are ready. Now those who are traveling by these, taking help of all these apps, they do know that wherever you want to go, like I am coming in Ola, sometimes I came in Uber to Mumbai. So wherever you want, I can book from anywhere, the cab will be there in the parking, you can book in advance, you can book for somebody else, you can book for smaller distances. Whereas as against that, it doesn't happen in Mumbai, but in Pune, people talk about rickshawalas. And Pune rickshawalas are very famous. So there was a joke, one person comes and approaches a rickshawala and he asks to the rickshawala, "Kahan jaoge?" So the rickshawala get confused. He said that I should say this sentence, "Kahan jaoge?" Aap kyun mujhe puch rahe ho kahan jaoge? He said, "No, if I ask you that will you come to Kothurud, you will say no. If I ask you will you come to Aum, you will say no. If I ask you will you come to Kondwa, you will say no." So I thought wherever you are going, I'll go there. So it is exactly against this particular statement. Jokes apart, but then that is the real fact of Pune rickshawalas, or maybe there are very few rare taxis in Pune, all rickshaws run in Pune. So if you ask to any rickshawala, he is not ready to go where you want. Otherwise, in their what they call curriculum, they have to have certain rules and regulations set. One of the rules is that they should not say no to any of the customers. There are rickshawalas in Pune, they will never say, "यहाँ पे जाना है ना चल के," they will give you an advice. अरे यहीं पे तो है सर, चल के जाइए. अरे तुमको क्या प्रॉब्लम है? I want to hire a rickshaw. He said नहीं इतने शॉर्ट डिस्टेंस के लिए नहीं है, हम नहीं आएंगे. अच्छा तो फिर चलो कोंडवा जाते हैं. नहीं वो बहुत दूर है, उधर नहीं आएंगे. So what is the customer value proposition what the people are carrying? So probably I don't know what is the thought behind starting with Uber and Ola services. This might have been probably the reason that you don't have the facilities available whenever you are in need. So with these two apps, I think you can get any vehicle any of the time. You can get luxury vehicle. There are categories like mini, the micra, and then luxury, sedan, etc. So you can get whatever option you want. That has been thought always, as I have been repeatedly telling you, every business is there for the customer. So customer satisfaction and customer delight is one step ahead of customer satisfaction. So try to delight the customer so that the customers will be keeping on coming to you. So the more you are taking care about the customer, this particular caption is talking about move the way you want. You means whosoever wants. So is nothing but a customer of that company. Few more statements we can do, but we'll see. Kentucky Fried Chicken, finger licking good. So here we are again talking about the quality of the product, quality of their food. Why everybody should have to have the same kind of experience. I don't know whether you have used or consumed that particular product or not, but then that may be the true. I am pure vegetarian, so I don't know how does it taste. But otherwise it must be tasting like this. That is the caption. Compass is a real estate company founded in US. They had appointed all of a sudden 10,000 plus agents, so that if you want to purchase a home in any locality, you can approach them and it will be easier. So they say that let us guide you home. Means let us guide you to find out your home, that is the meaning. But they are talking about the customer service again. Airbnb belong anywhere. That is another property booking online organization or online company started, which is one of the most successful companies ever today. We can say that one of the top 500 companies in the world. So you can book the hotel, you can book the room, you can book the bungalows for whatever you want, and then except one person's remaining, you don't have to disclose your identity, whom you are going with. If you are going with your entire family, only one person is supposed to show the identity, and then that business is going on well. There are other players, so Make My Trip is also there. Then there is there are 3 more. Again, I am having deficiency of B12, so I am likely to forget some words in between. So Airbnb is one of the services we started with a different thought. There are similar kind of players, but then they have got a different way of carrying out their business, and they are talking about belong anywhere. So wherever you want, we are there to provide you that service. VTs is breakfast company, breakfast of champions. They are specifically focusing to the sports people and to the people who are into athletics or gymnastics. So they are talking about breakfast of champions. Lay's, which we were discussing before the break. Beta, I don't know how this is pronounced. Becha. You cannot eat just one. So there was an advertisement where Saif Ali Khan was featuring, and you cannot really just eat one. And the one who will demand more, he will get free. That kind of advertisement was there. So they want to tell that our product is so nice and so crispy and so fine that you really cannot eat only one, and you cannot avoid your temptation going ahead and eating more than one. So that is the caption. Tag Heuer is a watch company as well. Don't crack under pressure. And they have shown in all the Tag Heuer companies, they have either shown James Bond or the celebrities, or most of the people from corporate. Because corporate people are always working on time, they are running behind the time. And majority problem which corporate people, which you will also be facing, is time management. Therefore, they have got a special caption. The corporate otherwise are likely to be under stress because of the time. So they say don't crack under pressure. And there was a person showing compress from both the sides who is wearing a tie and a blazer, a corporate person. So they are trying to indicate that for whom our watches are made, for the people who care for the time. Otherwise, if you purchase a watch of 100 rupees and say Rado watch of some lakhs of rupees, it will show the same time, isn't it? But then there is a self-esteem, and then there is definitely a different kind of services which are provided by these similar kind of companies. Walmart, save money, live better. Toyota, let's go places. Then Wrigley's double mint gum. Wrigley chewing gum is one of the #1 chewing gum manufacturing company in the world. You may not be aware. Yeah? Yes. So they say W pleasure, W fun. And this was specifically for the double mint gum. So you get mint gum, which is comparatively less stronger. Double mint is stronger. So for this particular product, they have made a statement. And now that reminded me the incidents of Wrigley's, who was the owner of this company. He was once traveling by a train, and he was just chit-chatting with the train driver. So the train driver asked him, "Your brand Wrigley is already #1 in the world. So why are you still advertising on different media? Why are you still there in newspaper? Why are you still there on television, hoardings, and many places? You still advertise. You are already #1, so why do you require to do the advertising?" So Wrigley asked him, Mr. Wrigley, who is the owner, he asked the engine driver, "At what speed your train is running right now?" He said, "Sir, 80 miles an hour. That comes to around 110 kilometers per hour." So he asked him further, now since the railway is already running at the speed of 80 miles per hour, why don't you disconnect the engine? Because it has already picked up the speed. Getting that? Difficult to understand? That was the answer given to the railway engine driver, that why I am not stopping myself to advertise, because though I am at the top #1 position, I have to be there. You have to be stable. So for the train to run at the speed of 80 miles per hour, it has to keep on running. If we disconnect the engine, it will stop. So there is a continuous thing, continuous push, continuous force is required to remain there or to maintain that position. That was an answer. So which is again talking about some kind of, I won't say ethics, but some kind of business strategies which those people have thought of to remain always on the top. Maybe one of your business strategy, maybe one of your business decisions, that you let other competitors be not matching with your parameters, not matching with what you're giving to the customers. You will always try to settle or make the competitor to always below you. You will not allow them to go on surpassing. So that may be one of the business studies. How to do that? It cannot be explained just in one lecture time. We do have a separate subject called as strategic business management. So there will be learning all those things, or you will be learning all those things. I won't teach you that. I don't know. Maybe there is this one competitor strategy. This could be one good statement. There was a company who was advertising mint in the hole. Which is that company? Polo, Parle ka tha na, belongs to Parle. So they were advertising as mint in the hole. There was another competitor company came up and they had this caption line: no hole, only mint. So that is how you can indirectly tapping or trying to show your competitor down without mentioning their name. So the Polo was having a hole at the center, so they started with that size of that hole and those kind of mint, and then that was packed in a small pack, and you don't have to have that hole into the center of that tablet. You eat that tablet. So that's how they have changed the design of the tablet as well. Chewing tablet. It was not a chewing gum, but a tablet. So they named it as, the tagline was no hole, only mint. And to beat the competition, which was saying mint in the hole. Burger King, talk about have it your own way. Burger King, and there's another similar kind of company called as Subway. So they say that you can make your own sandwich. That is their tagline. So otherwise, when you go to the hotel, there are some 4 varieties, 6 varieties in this. So you have to eat only whatever they have with them, whatever is available with that particular restaurant. So Subway came up with a concept, or even Burger King also came up with a concept that you tell us what you want as the inside of the burger. So we'll provide it to you. So Subway works on the same lines. So have it your way, means whatever way you want, will make your burger. American Express, don't live life without it. So American Express credit card, if you are having, you will be looked at with raised eyebrows by the people. Because American Express credit card is used by most of the Americans, of course. It is basically generated from there. So if you hold that credit card, you are a sign of esteem. So it is saying that don't live life without it. If you don't have it, then you are not living your life in a way. Then Symbiosis, I have already told you in the morning. These are few taglines of this Universal Studio. They keep on changing based on the locations, based on even the cities and the countries. They keep on changing. So I will not read all these. There are more than 100 which I could found. So few we can read quickly. I feel like I am in the movies. If any of the times you visited Universal Studio, I have visited in Singapore. So they have got a separate, and they have got many such outlets across the world. So you will actually get a feeling that somewhere the shooting is happening, and those kind of characters which are there in the Marvel movies as well as Universal movies, Pixar movies. So they are actually been made statues there, and you can really get a feeling that you are in the movie. So making that caption is giving the customers also feel that if you are experiencing Universal Studio, you will feel like I am in the movies. So you can read all these when I circulate these things to you. We will not go into much details of it. What I am trying to tell you by these examples is the code which you have designed for your company, which will talk about the company's either philosophy or strategy or the business they are into. So reading the tagline, you will come to know whether it is a food company, whether it is a manufacturing company, whether it is an automobile company. So tagline will tell you about the type of the business. Few taglines which we discuss are talking about the ethical business which they follow, and few taglines talking about the quality of the product which they are manufacturing. So tagline is not just like that कि कोई भी मन में है वो tagline बनाए. Tagline is also designed keeping in the viewpoint something which you will learn in strategic management, vision and mission of the company. So that tagline should be aligned to the vision and mission, and it cannot happen overnight. It has to go through all the stakeholders which I have been talking repeatedly. Your workers, that means your employees, then your managers, then your material suppliers, your dealers, distributors, except customers. Everything is expected to give the society whatever the tagline and achieve the mission of vision of the company to the mission. Mission statements are different milestones by which we will reach to the vision. So that's how the things have been designed. Tagline is definitely a creative part, but then it has always a connection between vision and the mission. And if you happen to, I'll circulate this thing to you. So go through each and every company's website, and you will be definitely able to connect this tagline with the vision and mission of that organization. This will be an exercise in strategic business management, not for this subject. Okay, so this I guess there are many interesting things here. Okay, this video I wanted to show, but then I'll keep it at the end. So there are two theories which are very interesting. One part of the theory, or one side of the theory, is called as consequentialist. Difficult to pronounce that way. Consequentialist and non-consequentialist. Consequences means whatever happens after you do it. Consequence means effect of certain thing. When you do something and you get an effect. Cause and effect you might have heard in management. So what is the reason and what has happened? So what has happened when we are talking about, we call it as a consequence. So two people are fighting, one person hit the other person and that other person died. It's a consequence of that fight started on a very small, meager matter. So ultimately end, what is the consequence? Somebody dies. So that is what we call the consequence. So the theory has been devised long back, somewhere in 90s. And the theory is talking about there are two parts of anything happening. One is consequentialist and the other is non-consequentialist. Means what? I'll give you the example that will make the things more clear. What consequentialists say, they say that whether an act is morally right depends on the consequences. Means whatever you are doing, whether it is correct or not, that will be decided based on for what you are doing. For example, if you are talking lie to somebody, so talking lie is according to the values is not accepted. Like you have to develop that virtue that you will be always talking the truth. Talking lie is not accepted. Correct? Which is morally wrong to talk lie. But then for what you are talking, if that is to be considered, then consequentialists will say, okay, if you are talking it for somebody's good, then it is accepted. That is how the meaning of consequentialist or consequentialism. Non-consequentialism, exactly on the opposite side, they will say, no, whatever I am telling you ethically, you have to follow it. You don't have to think about consequences. What is the consequences? You don't have to worry. You are supposed to not to talk lie. For whatever reason, you should not talk lie. That's what non-consequentialism speaks about. Few examples will make it more clear. This says denies that the rightness or wrongness of the conduct is determined solely by the goodness or badness. It does not deny that consequences can be the factor of determining the rightness of the act, but it does insist even when the consequences of two acts or act types are same, one might be wrong and one other might be right. Examples will make it clear. That was a typical bookish definition. Non-consequentialism says that never kill an innocent person. It also says that never tell the lies. Whatever may be the consequences, the act is morally wrong. So if you are killing some innocent person, innocent means who was not involved in that particular matter. He has not probably done anything. So you cannot kill an innocent person. That is for sure. Never tell the lies is one of the value all of you are supposed to follow. So you will never kill an innocent person, you will never tell the lies, whatever may be the consequences. This is the standard which you are supposed to follow. Against that, what happens in consequentialism? You will never kill a person, you will never tell the lies. Whether the act is morally right depends on the consequences. So there are cases which have happened where this is typically the cases of that somebody is trying to kill somebody and by saving himself, by mistake, the accident has happened and the person got killed. So he didn't have the intention to kill, but then because of the killing was done probably to save himself or for saving somebody. For example, if you're driving on a street and then when dog comes in front of your vehicle, will you not save the dog? Right? So in the view of saving the dog, you go haywire maybe on a two-wheeler or four-wheeler and your car bangs on some two-wheeler person, that two-wheeler person dies. This is where the consequentialism will be coming into the picture. So I was not having intention to kill that person, but it has happened by accident. So consideration will be given that why have you killed that person. In cases of, there are many cases of rapes and gang rapes where the person who is a rapist is being killed by that girl. So in that case, why that girl has killed that person, there is a valid reason. So consequentials will take into consideration why that particular thing is happening. Then consequential is work. Otherwise, non-consequential is say nothing to you. You cannot kill anybody. You have to follow that particular standard or follow those norms. Most people agree that lying is wrong, but if telling a lie will help to save a person's life, consequentialism says it is right. So if killing somebody for your own security, consequentialism says it is right. But then court will not say it. Court will have to, you will have to prove why it is done. If the court also agrees consequentialism, then you will be left for free. Otherwise, you will be in the jail, behind the jail. So if the court agrees with non-consequentialism. Few more simple examples in our lives. Never deceive your customer. So does it depend on consequences? Definitely not. It is a standard. As a company ethics, you should never deceive the customer. You should never give the false commitment to the customer. Whatever may be the consequences, an act is moral wrong. Do you agree with this statement? You as a businessman, you should have all the clear-cut policies as to whatever features our product has. We will be telling you only that. I was giving you the example of the street smart people or the people who are selling their things on the street. He will say, "नहीं madam, लेके जाओ, पूरा guarantee इसका." But then is he telling you the truth? Definitely not. Whereas exactly on the other side, I have given you the same example that if you go to the mall to purchase certain things, they will tell you 6 महीने का guarantee है, 7 महीने का guarantee, 10 महीने का guarantee है. इसका guarantee नहीं है because this is in sale, so 20% price में मिल रहा है आपको, 80% is a discount. But then we cannot guarantee, इसका कोई guarantee warranty नहीं है. So there we are talking about making very much crystal clear and transparent about our services, about our commitment, about the claims which you are making with the product. So do not make any kind of false claims, because in that case you will be deceiving the customer. It is not allowed morally, whatever may be the consequences. So irrespective of the consequences, if you are thinking about it, comes under non-consequentialism. Consequentialism had got some kind of a reason. For example, doctor, specifically your dentist will tell you, कुछ नहीं होगा, बिल्कुल नहीं दुखेगा. But then does it really happen? No. So because he is thinking about consequence. What is the consequences if the doctor will tell you dukhega, so you will be always already in tension, right? So to avoid that, you will say it won't pain, but it will. But his intention to tell you is something which is positive. That you should not get frightened, you should not get too much stress unnecessarily, you should not be anxious. So his intention to say nahi dukhega is to avoid the possible outcomes of it. So therefore he is telling lie. Actually he is telling lie. नहीं दुखेगा, ऐसा होता नहीं. मतलब after you are on medication or under the influence of asthma, not asthma, क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Anesthesia. Thank you. Anesthesia. And then under the effect of anesthesia, you will not come to know. It will not pain at all. There are two types of anesthesia. One is local anesthesia, and second is general anesthesia. If certain thing is to be operated somewhere only in this area, so they will give an injection here, only this much part will get anesthesia effect. No. Yeah, if it is a big major operation to be done, your entire body will be given anesthesia, which is total general anesthesia, which might be 1 year, 1 hour or 2 hours of operation. That time they will give you. But then for making or taking an injection, many people are having phobia of taking an injection. Right? Why? Because we have got a feeling that injection will dukhega. So doctor will tell you nahi dukhega. And sometimes it happens. It depends upon the doctor as well. But usually doctors will be always talking about it won't pain, but it will. So that will come under consequentialism. That means you have to take consideration what is or why that person is telling you the lie. The ultimate result out of it that you have to consider, and then you might have to forgive that person. That is what consequentialism says. The birth of this consequentialism is somewhere way back in the history of Bible, and you might have heard this word 10 Commandments. There was a movie named 10 Commandments which has won many Oscars. Do watch that movie. So Moses, who has revised these 10 Commandments told by Yeshu Christ, and then those 10 Commandments were written like this. Those are basically in a language called as Hebrew, which is a very difficult language to understand. These are those 10 Commandments. We'll read one by one. And all these commandments are non-consequentialist. Means whatever may be the final outcome, you will have to follow these as standard moral principles. You cannot tell excuses. why I have done it because something was likely to happen, that's why I have done it. No excuse. That is what non-consequentialism says. First point is, thou shalt, now this is old English, shalt means shall, thou means you, thou shalt have no other God before me. Means you shall have no other God before me. It means I will be the only God. So there is a concept called as monotheism. Monotheism means only one God. We have discussed in module number 1, I guess, if I remember. Monotheism is only one God. So most of the Islamic religion, then Christianism, most of the people follow one God system. Hindus don't have one God. There are many gods available. So whichever God you like, you can pray that God. But most other isms follow monotheism. So that is the meaning of this particular word. So you shall not devote any kind of other God. So only one God you will be praying. And you cannot tell any other consequences of it. You cannot tell that Hindus have got more God, so I don't like you, I will follow Hinduism. Jokes apart, but then this particular system says that you shall have no other God before me. Means I am the only God you will have to follow. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. I don't know the meaning of this. We'll find out. Thou shalt not take the name in the Lord in vain. When you are in ego, when you are in pride, you should not take the God's name. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Sabbath day is a day when it is said that God has created this entire earth, and then during the process he got very much tired and he took the rest on Sunday. So that is why we celebrate Sunday as a holiday, because we need also the rest for working. So that is to be treated as that shall not be taken remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. So Sundays, you will find that all the Christians will go to the church on Sundays. So Sundays is for the purpose of praying the gods, or kind of a prayer to the gods. So you should not forget that. Most of the Christians will go to the church on Sundays. Most of the Muslims will go to the masjid on Fridays. Hindus, question mark. Which days you go, that will depend on every individual. Not every individual will be going to the mandirs that regularly as against Muslims and Christians do. I am talking about Hindus. Okay? But then that may be one of the reasons that whatever happens to you in the entire week, we should not forget Sunday, which is supposed to be Sabbath day. I think Jews take Saturday as a Sabbath day. And then you will have to consider it as a holy day that way. So therefore prayers are to be done. You have to go to the church and so forth. Honor the father, honor thy father, honor thy mother. This philosophy we have got even in our Indian Sanskriti or Indian culture also, Hindu's culture. You have to honor, respect your father and mother. Pitru Devo Bhava Matru Devo. What is that talking about? It's respecting your parents, father and mother. Thou shalt not kill. Non-consequentialism, why you are killing is not important. It's immaterial. You should not kill, whatever may be the reason. Right? Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Adultery means having illegal affairs outside your marriage. So that has been made clear that time. Adultery means, to be very specific, since you all are adult, I can say that having sex with somebody who is not your life partner. That is what adultery says. And it is not, of course, allowed in any of the cultures. Thou shalt not steal. Again, here I have written some statistics that Indian statistics say that 56% of people in India, married people, they have got extramarital affairs. 56%, which is a very high percentage. Then another, thou shalt not steal. Stealing, chori karna, that is also not allowed by non-consequentialism theory. Thou shalt not bear false witness against the neighbor. Means you should not be giving witnesses which are wrong and you are not aware about the situation. This is a typical thing which happens in our Bollywood movies. When the people are purchased to give the witness against usually the hero, then hero is behind the jail, then he comes out with an intention of vengeance, and then he will be killing all the people from the villain side. So that happens only when somebody has given a wrong witness against somebody. So that is again said to be non-consequential. You should not do for whatever reason. and those witnesses are purchased. So for the sake of money they do it. And last is thou shall not covet, means you should not think about something or kind of a greed or kind of a lust. You should not have the other lust because you are comparing yourself with somebody else. So he has got that, so I need to have that. He has got XYZ car, I also need to have that car. So looking at somebody or with an intention of jealousy, if you are comparing, that is again not acceptable according to these 10 commandments. So those are all non-consequential. There are two theories which are again speaking the same thing in different kind of words or different kind of terminologies. One is called as deontological theory. Difficult words, but unfortunately you may have to remember from exam sake. But once you understand the concept, you will remember it how. The moral philosophy, deontological ethics or deontology is a normative ethics theory that morality of action should be based on whether action itself is right or wrong. Series of rules rather than based on the consequences. So what is it? Sorry. See, don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat. Rather than based on consequences. You will be clear with this example. Non-consequentialist. Whatever 10 commandments I have told you, you don't have to give excuses. I have done it because something has happened. No because. So it has to be totally being followed as a rule of ethics. So deontology, the word has come from deon, which means duty. So deontology is simple to apply. It just requires the people to follow the rules and do their duties. Now this is an example. Read it. You will understand exactly what I mean to say by this deontological theory or non-consequential. So deontological theory is nothing but non-consequential. This is an example I will read for you. Suppose you are a software engineer and you learned that a nuclear missile is about to launch that might start a war. So starting or launching of the nuclear missile you might have seen in most of the Hollywood movies or sci-fi movies you might have seen. So the software engineer knows that the missile is about to be launched, which is likely to start the war. You means that software engineer can hack the network and cancel the launch. Simple, so that the war will not happen. But it is against the professional code of ethics because you are not allowed as a professional software engineer, you are not allowed to crack the code of any software because it will be going against your professional ethics. So you can hack the network and cancel the launch, but it is against your professional ethics to break into any software system without permission. So you have to take the permission of your higher authorities, which they won't give you. And it is a form of lying and cheating to your profession. Therefore, it doesn't do it. Deontology advises not to violate the rule. However, thousands of people will die. That is nothing but non-consequential, which I have given in the earlier example. You don't have to tell the extent. You cannot tell that thousands of people will die, therefore I crack the code and I stop the system. Nothing. You are not allowed to crack the system. You are not allowed to steal the code. You are not allowed to stop the system because it is not your responsibility. You are not allowed to do that. Allowed is a simple word to understand. But then it is the professional code of ethics which you as a software engineer should follow. And the same thing most of the people in IT companies they will have to follow. When you go to the IT company, first of all you will be given a professional email ID. You cannot use Gmail there. Most of the IT companies will not allow any kind of social websites in their companies. Your Facebook will not run on the company's PC or laptop if they are giving in the company premises. Your LinkedIn social website won't run on it. Probably most of the software companies will not have the proper availability of towers or maybe your range for your mobiles, so that you cannot play with WhatsApp also. So when you are 8 hours time in the IT company services, you have to really devote that much amount of time for the service. So you're not doing any kind of social activity, you're not allowed to do that, you're not allowed to steal any kind of data, you cannot even some of the companies are so stringent that you cannot mail that data outside. It will be always be mailed to the internal people, what they call as the intranet. Within the company you can mail, you can forward the thing. So while sitting in the company, you cannot do literally a single personal work. As far as your mailing is concerned, your social site, social presence is concerned, you cannot do anything. Why? It is because something to do with the professional codes of ethics with that company is designed. Most of the company's PCs, you cannot put your pen drive. Those pen drives are disabled from getting it read. So you have got this slot where you can put the pen drive. What do you call it as? USB slot. So you put your pen drive, you can download the data from the pen drive, copy it on the server of the company or the PC of the company. While going home, you can copy some data, put it on USB. You can do that. But to avoid doing it, the companies itself, they will take care that internally that USB drive is disabled. Even if you put in USB drive, it will not read. That is done internally. I have seen in one places, they wanted to have some data security thing done for their company people. The people should not take any kind of data. So I had just happened to go to that company. I told them that I have got some data which I have got it in my pen drive. I'll transfer it to your machine. They said no, all USB drives are disabled. So you cannot put the pen drive in this system and we cannot copy the data from it. I said why it is so? So they said a lot of data protection we need to think about. Nobody should be stealing from our PCs. Nobody should be. Nowadays it doesn't happen, but in earlier days when you put a pen drive, it is likely to get caught by a lot of viruses and it will cause problem with other systems. So to avoid that, we have disabled the USB system. So I just happened to go to that company and I was just observing how this is being disabled. So I was observing that there was one Tixo tape which was put up on a USB slot. So I asked that engineer, can you put this pen drive there? He said, let me try. So he just removed the Tixo tape, put the USB there, and then it worked. The USB I could open. But then this is not the, I would say, technical way of disabling the USB drive. So that is to be done internally so that all such kind of things cannot happen. What I am trying to tell you is that stealing the data is still non-consequentialism. You may not tell him, I was working here and I shifted to the other company, so my data was there on the PC, I need to carry that. Nothing doing. It will not be allowed. Whenever you are going out of the company, most of the IT companies will be checking your bags also. If you are carrying, there are cases in IT companies, people have stolen the mouse, people have stolen the keyboard, they will take anything while going out. So some companies are very stringent, they will literally check your bags. If you are bringing a two-wheeler, they will check your dickies. If you are bringing a four-wheeler, they will check your four-wheeler dickies also. I have seen some such companies, you will also come across some such companies. Because ultimately, what is the final verdict? That you should not steal. Whether it is for your benefit, it is for benefit of somebody, you might tell, no, I did not actually wanted this, actually it's one of my relatives who wanted to get the information, I am carrying this data for you. No. Carrying the data, copying the data, then stealing the data, taking the data or using the data for some other purposes application is not at all allowed, means not at all allowed. So you have to follow the non-consequential things. So here, he would have, if decided, could have easily cracked the code because being a software engineer, and he could have stopped launching that missile which otherwise would have saved thousands of people dying. But non-consequentialism says nothing doing. You are not allowed to crack the code. Consequentialism would have accepted probably. That you crack the code, it's good that you have saved the life of 1,000 people, and that is the reason which you have. But non-consequentialism says nothing doing, you have to follow the professional codes which have been asked you to do. So unlike consequentialism, deontology avoids subjectivity. That is the important word here. Subjectivity means whatever I feel, it's not necessary that somebody else should also feel the same way. Subjectivity is everybody has got a different opinion, viewpoint of looking at the things. So whatever I feel, somebody else may be thinking totally opposite of it. So therefore subjectivity doesn't come in non-consequentialism. Means whatever wrong is wrong. You think it is right doesn't mean it is right. Consequentialism will accept it because from your viewpoint it may be right. Like yesterday I have told you the color of the car is white, color of the car is black. So both are correct actually. But then consequentialism may accept, but then non-consequentialism will not accept. They will say, okay, provide us a proof from which angle you have seen. The court will ask for the real car color which is registered with RTO. You are not allowed to change the color of your car by you. Your color is registered with RTO. If you decide to change the color of your entire car, you have to re-register with RTO. So point is, if you are telling that because from my angle I see it from this way, subjectively whatever I am saying is correct. Consequentialism may say correct or accepted, but non-consequentialism will not accept. They say provide us the proofs. Correct? So it is more objective to follow the professional codes of ethics rather than telling your excuses which will not be accepted. And exactly opposite theory is called as teleological theory. Theory means aim. So here we are thinking of what is the outcome, why he has done it, why he has killed a person, why he is talking lying. So it's okay. If he's talking lie for some reason, then it was okay, it is accepted. That is what teleology says. So which is nothing but consequential. So I don't need to read that one. Stealing, for example, will be deemed right or wrong depending on the consequences. Supposing you happen to see some beggars on the street and they wanted to get the food, and then you also don't have money. This has been seen in some of the movies. This was seen in some Raj Kapoor movie. So he steals the bread from a bakery and then he provides to the beggar. So why he has stolen? He has not stolen for himself, but stolen for somebody else to feed somebody's stomach. So therefore consequentialism says okay, the reason for which you have done that act is quite justifiable. So that is allowed. So stealing would be deemed to be right or wrong depending on the consequences. Why you have done it? So killing somebody for your own safety could be accepted by consequentialism. So the court has given in some cases the verdict that because of his own safety he has killed the other person, so he is proven to be innocent and there is no case filed against that person. So that is consequentialism. For bribing, then stealing bread for poor people, killing for self-safety could be some of the examples of means, ends. What is the final outcome? Consequentialism. Okay, so this is one case we'll study today and you will have to tell me how this actually works. So there is this Pawan who is pursuing MBA, you can presume pursuing PhD, doesn't matter, and shares a room with you. So he is your room partner. In the private hostel, he desperately needs a job after completing his course. He needs a job because education loan and weak economical background. So he has already taken education loan, his parents of course, and then he has got a very poor economical background. He doesn't have sufficient amount of money basically. In the last 2 semesters, he couldn't secure good grades due to his illness. So he's on the top of it, he's ill also, so because of it he couldn't get good marks in last 2 semesters. And in current semester, he has to secure good marks at any cost to satisfy minimum criteria for placement. Most of the MBA institutes or PhD institutions where they have got a separate placement department, they have got certain criteria for appearing for the companies, for being eligible for placement. One of the criteria is attendance, second is the marks. So students, they take care that they are present in almost all the lectures, so attendance criteria is satisfied. But to get the good marks, you really have to strive a lot. So they study a lot and they will get the 60% above marks, then only they are becoming eligible for getting placement. Now in this case, what is happening? The person has already got bad marks, Pawan has already got bad marks in semester 1 and semester 2. In any case, to become eligible for placement, he has to get good marks in semester number 3. But because of his illness, he could not get good marks in the first and second semester. That illness might still continue, might be a hurdle in his study. So he could not get good marks in the third semester. Rather, he wants to get good marks in the third semester. And he needs a job for 2 reasons. For education loan to be cleared and his weak economical background. Now the problem in the statement or problem in the case is, few days before the final examination, he comes to you and asks for money. What he says, he is stressed and nervous. He tells you about his plan to purchase the semester papers to clear the exam. See what is happening. And he convinces you for the same by giving reference to his bad health, family status and education loan. In such circumstances, would it be right to lend the money to him, identify the moral dilemma faced by you and analyze your role, duties as a friend and his room partner also suggests you course of action. Think on this for 10 minutes and I want a solution from you. Read it again.